AskReddit by X Thomas. How do you know if something you read on the internet is real with all the AI bullshit and it was posted recently? It's the same way you know anything's real. Cross-reference and check the comments to see if anyone else has done the work for you. If it's something less public, or just personal, it's hard to tell without checking their profile for some sort of history. Even then, it's iffy. You just get a feel for when something's written by an AI. Typically they're wordier. Yeah, I feel like a lot of AI content is written like high school me wrote essays to pad out the word count. AI has a tendency to follow the same pattern if you notice. The same outline, topic titles are unreal and they always use conclusion at the end. Also, over-explanation. I use that term loosely, typically fills in a bunch of useless speech. It's like a kid trying to fill in a 1,000-word essay with a one-sentence statement. The same way people did before AI. Fact check. Corroboration. And listen. Always consider the source. Is it a story from the Associated Press, with a byline, or is it a block of clickbait articles lined up at the bottom of a page? If you don't already trust, or can't verify how trustworthy the source is, consider it a rumor at best. Resources like Media Bias Fact Check, https://mediabiasfactcheck.com/ can help you decide whether to trust certain sites. Altar but says nothing lf you are asking it to give advice. It I give exact I the same genuineness as tarot card readers and fortune eaters LT can't be specified about anything related to human socio interactions. Whoa, what did you do to make BS look like that? One interesting thing is my local country's sub hasn't had much of an issue with it. I guess AIs can't code switch yet. The internet has been full of bullshit and trolls since it was just a link between universities. Bots are more recent, but Spot the Bot has been a thing for 10-15 years now. Basically, don't instantly believe everything you read. If it's important enough for future decisions or whatever, cross-reference. If it's not that important, assume it's entertainment until it's important enough to cross-ref. I know this is about writing, but I'm an artist and can easily pick out AI images, whether they're stealing from art or photographs. They tend to look overly glossy but are bad at small details. Get anatomy wrong, lighting is off, people look uncanny or their eyes look weird. For AI images of architecture, there's a lot of impossible things like stairs that lead to nowhere, porches with no door access, it gets window panes wrong a lot and windows aren't lined up correctly. Kitchen cabinets have handles all in different places, ovens don't have the correct number of knobs, and lots of random little shelves floating around. For writing, I find that AI tends to sound almost like a high schooler's essay, with a clear beginning, middle, and a conclusion. Also they're wordy as hell, just like when a kid is trying to fill out the word count for their essay. When a real person writes something, I can usually detect there's something of a personality by the way the person writes. With AI, it's very bland, and well, artificial. Nothing's real on the internet. Especially things that say they are real. You don't have to take a stance on everything you see on the internet. You can just ignore a lot of it. Read it. In spite of our best efforts, the amalgamation of all our text has a lot of very specific quirks. It will make mistakes that humans don't. And humans make mistakes that it doesn't. No matter how specific your prompt is, it's going to look like AI. It's got its own very specific voice, and no matter how clever the prompt is, it can't hide it. This isn't a boast, but within a few sentences I typically get alarm bells going off in my head if something was AI generated. If it's an article, you can typically just Google a fact from it or a quote. If it's real, this won't be the only reference. There's an old saying. Don't believe anything you read and only half of what you see. Of course, cross-referencing and reputable sources go a long way. I questioned and checked everything before RE. People used to laugh at me for having such trust issues, but the joke is on them now. I seriously worry we are in for a world of hurt. Verify the credibility of the source and look for independent corroboration. This hasn't really changed. Hey, I have a letter signed by 100 scientists refuting climate change. Great, 63 of those scientists are economists, and in fact only 10 of them actually have a background vaguely relevant to climate science, and all 6 of those claim their name was added without their consent or knowledge. 2 of the others are widely no cranks. The funny thing about science is that if it's actually proven beyond a reasonable doubt, it's hard to find papers on because the papers discussing it were published in like 1954. But if it's cutting edge and thus interesting, there's almost certainly at least 2 camps snidely sniping at each other. Start with the assumption that it's BS until you can prove otherwise. Twitter, FB, bullshit. Mainstream news orgs, a grain of salt. Official press releases and amp, horse's mouth. Okay, it's probably true, but there will be nuance. RE isn't very good at writing, so critical thinking should get you there. Generally no grammatical or spelling errors, but regular logical or formatting issues. Paragraphs will be coherent on their own but fail to transition cleanly to the next thought or will abruptly shift gears entirely. By using a frame of reference, you can't if you're a dum-dum. https://safanet4um.org/g/the-gentleperson-s-guide-to-o-4um-spies/30059. At a certain point, meeting and talking to a person face to face would be only real thing left. Institutional journalism. There's a reason why outlets like AP and Reuters haven't been dragged into the culture war soapboxing of mainstream media bad. They've made their reputations on being the place to go for reporting vs telling the story. It's not real anonymous. It's all just tasty wheat. Assume everything is false, and do research to prove it true. Use RE to generate an audio clip of Kamala Harris saying it. If it seems to be in character for her, it's RE. It's time to do what we have been doing, and that time is every day. It's not because an RE wrote it, that it's false. Lots of people are going to be using RE to make their writing better. You give it the basic idea you want to state and it'll make a nice text out of it.